You are the best thing that has ever happened to me.
They called me ugly, but I married the most handsome man in my village. Daughter, take this and wear it when the sun rises. But remember...
Grandma, why do you keep that old pot? What's inside?
Let me tell you a story, my child. Let me tell you why your grandmother chose to be ugly again.
Ugly? But Grandma, you're beautiful.
That's because you see me with the eyes of love. But let me take you back to when I was young, back to Alari village. Back to when I learned that beauty can be a curse worse than any scar.
My name is Adise, and I was born in a Alari village with a body that made people look away. I was thin like a dried stick. My face, people said it looked like God was in a hurry when he molded it. The village women had curves that moved like music. Me? I moved like a ghost, invisible, unwanted. But my mother, before she died, whispered a secret to me. She held my hand tight, her breath weak, her eyes wet with tears. Adise, listen well. Any man who marries you will become wealthy, richer than he ever dreamed. It is your blessing. But my daughter, she squeezed my hand harder. Only marry for love, not for pity, not for greed, for love. I never told anyone about this blessing. I didn't want a man who came for money. I wanted a man who would come for me. But years passed. No man came. The bachelors in Alari would rather remain single forever than marry me. I heard them say it. One man, Emeka, said it loud enough for everyone to hear. If Adise is the last woman on earth, I will die alone. Everyone laughed. I pretended not to hear. But those words cut deep, deeper than any knife. I accepted my life. I planted cassava behind my small hut. I fetched water from the river alone every morning. At night, I danced in my room to songs only my heart could hear. I refused to stop hoping. Somewhere, somehow, there had to be one man who would see me. Then came the Yam Festival. The whole village was alive. Colors everywhere. Drums shaking the ground. Laughter filling the air like smoke from cooking fires. I stood far away from everyone, like I always did. It wasn't my choice. Nobody wanted to stand near me. I watched the women dance in circles. I watched the men laugh and boast. I stood alone beside a dying fire, watching shadows. Then I saw him walking toward me. His name was Chima. Tall, calm, with eyes that seemed to see beyond skin and bone. He was a palm wine tapper, known throughout Alari for his gentle spirit and honest heart. When people saw him walking straight toward me, the whole festival went quiet. Some people nudged each other. Some laughed. Some whispered wicked things. But Chima didn't stop. He walked right up to me. "Good evening," he said softly. I looked behind me, sure he was talking to someone else. "Me?" I whispered. "Yes, you." Those two words entered my heart like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. We talked and talked and talked. Chima didn't look away from me. He didn't laugh. He didn't shift his feet uncomfortably like people do when they want to leave. He listened. He asked questions. He smiled at my answers. For the first time in my life, I felt like I existed. When the festival ended, he insisted on walking me home. The path to my hut was long and lonely, far from the center of the village where the important people lived. "I want to make sure you get home safely," he said. From that night, everything changed. Every evening, just before the sun went down, Chima would come to my hut carrying a small gourd of palm wine. I would bring out my curved wooden cups. We would sit outside under the orange sky, talking, laughing, teasing each other like old friends. But it was more than friendship. Slowly, gently, beautifully, love grew between us. Real love, pure love, the kind I had dreamed about my whole life. Chima loved me, not for my face, not for what I could give him. He loved my laugh. He loved my quiet strength. He loved the way I hummed when I cooked. He loved me, and I gave him the piece of my heart I had protected for years. One evening, Chima brought something with him. A wrapper, old, faded, but clean and carefully folded. "This was my mother's," he said quietly. His mother had died when he was young. She told me to give it to the woman I would marry. He placed it in my hands. My fingers trembled. "Adise, will you marry me?" I couldn't speak. I just nodded, tears running down my face. We married quietly. No big ceremony. No expensive gifts. Just two hearts choosing each other. The villagers almost fainted from shock. How can a man like Chima choose Adise? What kind of charm did she use on him? This love cannot be ordinary. The whispers followed us everywhere. When we walked together, men shook their heads. Women hissed under their breath. Young girls mocked me openly. But Chima would hold my hand tighter each time. And I smiled because for once in my life, I had something nobody could take from me. Happiness. Then something else happened. Something I never told Chima about. 2 months into our marriage, his palm wine business exploded. Farmers from other villages came looking for him. People bought in bulk. Money started coming in faster than we could count it. Chima became wealthy. The villagers panicked with jealousy. How can a common palm wine tapper become this rich? Something is wrong. Something is happening. Before long, they discovered my secret. The blessing my mother told me about. Now, the same men who mocked me wanted me. The same men who refused to greet me now bowed when they saw me. The same men who said they would rather die alone now wish they could take Chima's place. But it was too late. I belonged to my true love. One night, everything fell apart. It was raining. Thunder cracked the sky like it was breaking in half. The wind screamed like angry spirits. I woke up suddenly, my heart pounding. The door was wide open. Chima was gone. No footsteps. No struggle. No sound. No goodbye. Just emptiness. I ran outside screaming his name. Chima! Chima! Nothing. Only rain and darkness. I searched everywhere. I asked everyone. Some villagers said spirits took him. Others said the gods were angry. Some whispered that jealousy had led to something dark. But I refused to believe he was dead. My heart knew. Somehow, I knew he was alive. 2 years passed. 2 long, lonely, painful years without Chima. In those 2 years, my life became something I never imagined. The same men who swore they would rather remain single than marry me now lined up outside my hut. They formed a queue that stretched past the old mango tree. Men from neighboring villages traveled for hours just to see me. Some wore their best clothes. Some brought goats. Some brought yams. Some cried like babies, begging me to choose them. I had become the hottest cake in all of Aleri. The beautiful women, those who once mocked me, watched with burning jealousy. They whispered behind my back. One day her secret will come out. She must be using something to charm these men. What does she have that we don't have? Some even came to me directly and asked, Adise, what are you using? Tell us your secret. But I only smiled that quiet smile and walked away. They didn't know the truth. My blessing was a burden I never asked for, a gift the gods forced on me, a gift that only brought me pain. Among all the men begging for my hand, one man stood out. Namdi the fisherman, Namdi the smooth talker, Namdi whose tongue was sweeter than honey. What I didn't know then was that Namdi was Chima's childhood friend. They grew up together. They called each other brother. After Chima disappeared, Namdi was the one who came to comfort me. He helped me search. He brought me food when I was too sad to eat. He sat with me when the nights were too dark and lonely. Adise, he said one evening, wiping fake tears from his eyes. My heart breaks for you. Chima was my brother. Let me take care of you. Let me replace your sorrow with joy. I was tired of loneliness, tired of being alone, tired of waiting for Chima who never came back. So after many months of sweet words, after so much gentle attention, I agreed. I married Namdi. Namdi pretended to love me, pretended to cherish me, pretended I was his blessing from the gods. But once my gift started working, once fish overflowed his nets every morning, once money filled his pockets, once people started calling him the richest fisherman in 3 villages, his true nature came out. He stopped coming home early. He stopped eating my food. He stopped sleeping beside me. Then one hot afternoon, the truth exploded through the village like wildfire. Namdi had run away with a young woman from the neighboring town. A girl with round hips, smooth skin, and a laugh like bells. He left me without a goodbye, without shame, without a single glance back. For the second time, I broke into pieces. But this time, something else broke with me. My voice, I stopped talking. The pain was so deep, words couldn't come out anymore. I could only whisper. Soon, the whole region knew my story. If you want wealth, the villagers said, marry Adise, but forget love. She brings money, nothing else. Men began to come, not for love, not for companionship, not even for respect. They came for quick riches. And one by one, I married them. Not because I wanted to, but because I was tired. Tired of being alone. Tired of the mockery. Tired of nights filled with silence and tears. And one by one, after my blessing lifted them from poverty, after wealth filled their lives, after their pockets grew heavy and their faces grew proud, they left me. Some ran away with prettier women. Some simply disappeared. Some never returned home after tasting prosperity. Alari village began to whisper again, but this time with fear. There is something strange about her. Every man she marries becomes wealthy, then vanishes. Maybe she is cursed. Maybe she is a spirit. But the men kept coming. Some out of greed. Some out of foolishness. Some out of desperation. My heart became a crackpot that could hold no water. No joy. No hope. Nothing. I stopped going outside. I stopped smiling. I stopped believing I was worthy of anything good. Every man who left took something from me. My laughter went first, then my sleep, then my appetite, then my voice became a whisper, then even my will to live started fading. By the time the next man came, I was thin again, not because of how I was born, but because grief was eating me from the inside. I had scars on my arms, small ones, from the nights I tried to claw away the pain, from the times I wondered if ending everything would be better than this. Some villagers pitied me. Most mocked me. They called me the blessing wrapped in sorrow. They whispered this like it was a joke. But to me, it was a knife that kept stabbing. One of the women who used to mock me the most was named Ngozi. She was beautiful. Curves like calabash. Skin like honey. Every man wanted her. She married Chief Ugliest, the richest man in Alari before my blessing started making other men wealthy. But I saw her one day at the market. She had a scarf wrapped around her neck. When the wind blew it aside, I saw bruises. Her husband beat her. She caught me looking. For a moment, our eyes met. And in that moment, I saw something I never expected. Envy. She envied me. Even with all my pain, even with all my suffering, she envied me because at least one man had truly loved me. She had beauty, but no love. Only a rich man who used her like property. It was then I realized something. Beauty meant nothing without love. One night, when the moon hung low like a tired eye, I wandered out of Alari village. I was ready to leave forever. Maybe walk into the forest and never come back. Maybe let the spirits take me. My steps were slow and heavy. My eyes were swollen from years of tears. My spirit was tired of carrying a blessing that only brought pain. On the narrow forest path, the path where spirit was said to walk, I met an old woman. Her white hair flowed like river foam. Her eyes glowed with something ancient, something powerful. She looked at me like she had been waiting for me. Child, the old woman said, beauty has punished you long enough. I stared at her, confused. I wasn't beautiful. That was the problem. She smiled like she could read my thoughts. Not your beauty, child. The world beauty. The beauty they worship. The beauty that makes them blind. She stretched out her wrinkled hand. In it was a strange underwear made of silk that shimmered like water under moonlight. Take this. Wear it when the moon rises. You will become what the world respects. I hesitated. My hand trembled. But remember, the old woman leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Do not take off the underwear. Not for any reason. Before I could ask another question, she vanished, like smoke swallowed by darkness. Gone. I stood there trembling, staring at the magical underwear in my hands. My heart pounded with terror and hope mixed together. I had known suffering all my life. But magic? Magic was something told by old women around evening fires. Not something meant for me. I returned home quietly. That night, under the pale moonlight, I wore the underwear and went to sleep. In the morning, my life as I knew it ended. When I woke up and looked at myself, I screamed. My skin glowed like fresh honey. My body curved like a goddess carved from pure light. My face shone like the morning sun dancing on river water. I became a beauty no eye had ever seen. Even my reflection in the water seemed shocked. The moment I stepped outside, the entire village stopped breathing. Men carrying firewood dropped them. Women pounding yam forgot to move. Children stood frozen mid-play. Some screamed. Some fainted. All stared. The woman they once mocked, the woman they called ugly, the woman they avoided, now stood before them like a goddess descended from the sky. I was stunning beyond imagination. Suddenly, every man wanted me. Not for wealth this time. Not for my blessing. For my beauty. They brought yam tubers. They brought jewelry. They knelt. They begged. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. The old woman's final words kept echoing in my head. Beauty is a gift, but it always collects a price. I didn't know what price. But I knew this transformation had a dark secret. A cost I didn't yet understand. The first man I agreed to marry was Chief Ugliest himself. Yes, the same Chief married Ngozi, the woman who envied me. He divorced Ngozi the moment he saw me in my new form. He threw her out of his mansion like garbage. If I marry Adise, he said to himself, my wealth will increase even more, and I will marry the most beautiful woman in the entire region. He promised me everything. Respect, protection, riches, anything I desired. I was tired of being alone, tired of men who only came for my blessing. So I chose him. For 2 months, the marriage seemed peaceful. But then everything changed. 2 months into our marriage, Chief Uglist's life flipped upside down like a canoe caught in a storm. His cows died one after another. Strange deaths. No disease. They just dropped dead. His lands were taken by creditors. Debts appeared from nowhere. His businesses collapsed. One by one, they fell apart. His car broke down beyond repair. His wealth evaporated like water poured on hot sand. Soon, feeding in his house became a struggle. I watched silently as the once proud chief became a shadow of himself. Then one morning, something terrible happened. The villagers woke up to a shocking sight. Chief Uglist, the man they once admired, now wandered around Alari village begging for food. His clothes were tattered. His feet were dusty and bare. His eyes were wild and empty. He had gone mad. He walked around mumbling to himself, drooling, begging for scraps of food like a dog. Children threw stones at him. Women chased him away with brooms. Men shook their heads, whispering curses. Alari gasped in fear. What kind of beauty is this? Why did wealth leave him? What does Adise carry? But I said nothing. I only watched, because deep in my heart, I knew the prize for my new beauty had just begun to reveal itself. And it wasn't just taking wealth. It was taking sanity, taking dignity, taking everything. Chief Uglist's fall spread through Alari like fire through dry grass. Behind mud huts, under mango trees, beside evening fires, the villagers whispered, not with mockery this time, with fear. Her beauty destroys. Her blessing has turned to a curse. What kind of woman is this? But I remained silent. I had lost my voice 2 years ago, and even though I could whisper now, I had nothing to say. I watched the once mighty chief, a man who once dined with important people, a man whose footsteps once made other men bow. Now he roamed the village barefoot, his wrapper hanging on his waist like rags, saliva gathered at the corners of his mouth. Only I knew the truth. Chief Uglist's downfall began the moment he married me. The same blessing that made Chima wealthy. The same gift that lifted Namdi before he betrayed me. Now it had twisted into something darker. Something alive. Something hungry. And in my heart, I knew it was connected to the underwear I had been warned never to remove. One morning, Chief Uglist walked out of Alari village. He simply walked into the forest, mumbling to himself. No one ever heard of him again. His disappearance added fuel to the fire. Yet, even with all this happening, the men still lined up to marry me. Some boasted, let me become rich first. Before her curse catches me, I will run away. Others said, if we get wealth, is madness not a small price? Greed is always louder than fear. And so the line of men continued. Day after day, year after year, each man who married me became wealthy within weeks. And each man either went mad, lost everything, or disappeared. I stopped counting after the 10th man. By then, I had become a hollow shell. My eyes were empty. My body moved, but my soul felt dead. I had scars now, not just on my arms, but on my legs too. From the nights I tried to remove the underwear. From the times I scratched at my own skin, wishing I could claw off this cursed beauty. But the underwear wouldn't come off. It was stuck to my skin like it had become part of me. I tried everything. I tried cutting it. The scissors broke. I tried burning it. The flames wouldn't touch it. I tried soaking in water for hours. It remained dry. The curse was complete. Some nights, I would sit alone in my hut, staring at the wrapper Chima had given me, his mother's wrapper, the only thing I had left of him. I would hold it to my face and cry silent tears. Chima, I would whisper to the darkness, "Where are you? Are you even alive?" The wrapper still smelled like him, like palm wine and honest work, like love. Then one evening, everything changed again. The sun was setting. Orange light filled the village square. Dust rose gently in the air. A man walked into a Larry village wearing a long white robe. His steps were slow but steady. His presence was powerful, even from a distance. The villagers gasped. Women covered their mouths. Men dropped their tools. Children hid behind their mothers. When he came closer, the shock hit the entire square like thunder. It was Chima, my Chima. He was alive. News traveled faster than fire through dry grass. People ran through the village shouting, "Chima is back. Adise's first husband has returned. He is alive." I was inside my hut when I heard the commotion. My heart stopped. My hands began to shake. I ran outside, my wrapper flying behind me. When I reached the village square and saw him standing there, my knees gave way. I fell at his feet, tears pouring down my face like rivers. You are alive," I sobbed, my voice barely a whisper. "I knew it. I knew you were alive." Chima lifted me gently. His hands trembled as they touched my face. But when he looked at me, really looked at me, something flickered in his eyes. Confusion, then recognition, then something deeper. "Adise," he whispered. Yes, it's me." I cried. He stared at my face. My beautiful, cursed face. The face that wasn't mine. "What happened to you?" he asked softly. Before I could answer, the villagers gathered around us. Everyone wanted to hear his story. Chima's voice was rough, like he hadn't spoken in years. "It was Namdi," he said. The crowd gasped. I felt my blood turn to ice. Namdi, my brother, my childhood friend. He was the one who took me. I couldn't breathe. He was jealous, Chima continued. Jealous that I married Adise. Jealous that my palm wine business was growing. On that rainy night, he came to our home. He hit me from behind. When I woke up, I was tied up in the deep forest. Tears rolled down his face. He kept me there for months. He would come sometimes to give me food, just enough to keep me alive. He told me that Adise thought I was dead. He told me she had moved on. He said she was happy I was gone. My heart shattered into a million pieces. I would have died there, Chima said. But hunters from a neighboring village found me. I was half dead. They saved my life. He looked directly at me. I stayed away for 2 years. To heal. To make sure Namdi wouldn't find me again. But I couldn't hide forever. I had to come back to the only woman I have ever loved. The village square was completely silent. Even the wind seemed to stop to listen. I wanted to run into his arms. I wanted to hold him and never let go. But I couldn't, because I knew the truth. If I accepted Chima, if I married him again, the curse would strike him too. He would become like the others. Lost, broken, destroyed, mad. And I would rather die 1,000 deaths than bring pain to the only man who had ever truly loved me. Chima reached out his hand to me. Adise, will you come back to me? I looked at his hand. The same hand that had held mine under the orange sky. The same hand that had worked every day to build a life for us. I looked at his face. Older now, scarred from his time in captivity, but still the same gentle eyes. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Only tears. I whispered, I need time. I turned and ran. Ran away from the village square. Ran away from Chima. Ran into the forest. Behind me, I could hear him calling my name. Adise! Adise! But I kept running. I ran until I reached the spot where I first met the old woman. The wind was cold. The trees whispered secrets. My heart felt like it was being torn in half. Please, I cried out to the darkness. Please come back. I need you. And there, under the old tree, she appeared. The old woman with white hair and ancient eyes. I dropped to my knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Please, I begged, please take back the underwear. Take back this curse. My love has returned, and I do not want to destroy him. I cannot destroy him. He is the only good thing that ever happened to me. The old woman looked at me with those deep, knowing eyes. I knew this day would come, she said in a voice older than the earth itself. She came closer and knelt beside me. Listen to me carefully, child. The heart of men is wicked and selfish. Your beauty was given to punish the greedy, those who sought you not for love, but for gain. She touched my shoulder gently. Every man who married you for wealth, for status, for your blessing, they paid the price. Their greed consumed them. The curse took what they valued most. For some, it was their wealth. For others, their sanity. For others, their very existence. I looked up at her, tears blurring my vision. But the one who truly loves you has returned, she continued. The one who chose you when you had nothing, when you were nothing in the eyes of the world. He came back. She smiled, a sad, beautiful smile. So the curse has fulfilled its purpose. She pointed to my waist, where the underwear sat beneath my clothes. Go home. Remove the underwear. Burn it tonight. Your suffering ends. But how? I whispered. I tried. I tried so many times to remove it. It wouldn't come off. It will now, she said, because now you have something worth returning to. Love. She stood up slowly. One more thing, child. When you burn the underwear, everything it collected will be released. All the wealth taken from greedy men will appear. It is yours to do with as you wish. Before I could ask what she meant, she began to fade. Wait! I called out. Who are you? Why did you help me? Her voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. I am the voice of forgotten women, the spirit of the scorned, the protector of those who suffer in silence. Your pain has answered 1,000 prayers I have heard from broken women. You have redeemed them all. And then she was gone. I sat there for a long moment, my heart pounding. Then I stood up, wiped my tears, and ran home. When I reached my hut, I closed the door and locked it. My hands were shaking as I reached for the underwear beneath my wrapper. For 2 years, it had been stuck to my skin. Unmovable, unremovable. But now, when my fingers touched it, it came loose easily. I pulled it off. The moment it left my body, I felt a surge of energy rush through me. The room seemed to spin. I looked down at my arms. The smooth, glowing skin began to change. It became the skin I was born with. Darker, rougher, real. I touched my face. The perfect features were shifting, melting away like wax. My real face was returning. My body changed. The curves disappeared. My thin frame came back. In less than a minute, I was Adise again. The real Adise. The one Chima had fallen in love with. I looked at the underwear in my hands. It seemed so small, so harmless, but it had caused so much destruction. I walked outside to the back of my hut where I kept firewood. I built a small fire and threw the underwear into the flames. The moment it touched the fire, something incredible happened. The flames rose higher, burning bright blue instead of orange. The underwear burned fast, turning to ash in seconds. And then, as the old woman had said, everything it had collected was released. Money began appearing around me. Coins, currency, jewelry, piles and piles of wealth. All the riches taken from the greedy men who had married me. It appeared so suddenly, I stumbled backward in shock. There was enough wealth here to feed the entire village for years. I stood there, staring at it all, my mind racing. Then I heard a sound behind me. I turned around. Chima was standing there. He must have followed me from the village. His eyes were wide, staring at the piles of wealth. But then his gaze shifted to me, to the real me. His face changed. His eyes softened. A smile slowly spread across his face. "There you are," he whispered. He walked closer. "I've been looking for you," he said, his voice breaking with emotion. He reached out and traced my face with his fingers, tears rolling down his cheeks. "This is the face I dreamed about in that dark place. This is the face I saw every night when I closed my eyes. This is the face I fell in love with." I couldn't hold it anymore. I broke down completely. Chima pulled me into his arms and held me tight. "I don't care what you look like," he whispered into my hair. "I don't care about beauty. I don't care about curses or blessings. I only care about you. The you I know. The you I chose." We stood there, holding each other, crying together. After everything. After all the pain. After all the betrayal. After all the years of suffering. We had found each other again. The next morning, I gathered all the wealth the curse had collected. Chima helped me put it in baskets and bags. "What are you going to do with all this?" he asked. I looked at him and smiled. Something that should have been done a long time ago. We carried the wealth to the village square. Word spread quickly. Soon, everyone in Alari gathered around, curious, whispering. I stood in the center, with Chima beside me. I want every woman who has been scorned to come forward. Every woman whose husband left her. Every woman who has been beaten. Every woman who has been used and thrown away. More women came forward. Among them was Ngozi, Chief Ogunlade's ex-wife, the one who used to mock me. Her eyes were wide with shock. I looked at all of them. "This wealth," I said, gesturing to the piles behind me, "was taken from greedy men. Men who valued money more than people. Men who used women like objects. Men who had no honor." I took a deep breath. Today, I return it to those who deserve it. To the women who have suffered. To the widows who have struggled. To the scorned who have been left with nothing. The village square exploded with gasps and murmurs. One by one, I gave wealth to every woman who came forward. To the old widow who had been begging for food for years, I gave enough to rebuild her life. To the young mother whose husband abandoned her with 4 children, I gave enough to feed and educate them all. To Ngozi, who stood there with tears in her eyes, I gave enough to start her own business. "Why?" Ngozi whispered, her voice shaking. "After everything I said about you. After how I treated you. Why?" I looked at her and said simply, "Because we are not enemies. We never were. We were both just trying to survive in a world that values the wrong things." She broke down crying. By the time the sun reached its highest point, every woman in need had received something. The men of Alari watched in stunned silence. Some looked ashamed. Some looked angry. Some looked like they finally understood something they had been blind to all their lives. When it was done, I turned to Chima. "Let's go home," I said. He smiled and took my hand. We walked through the village together, past the whispering crowds, past the shocked faces, past the old mango tree where we used to sit and drink palm wine. We walked to our small hut on the outskirts of Alari. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't a palace. It was just a simple hut. But it was ours. That was many years ago, my child. Your grandfather, Chima, and I lived quietly after that. We never became rich again, but we never needed to. If you love this story, please click and subscribe for more. Like, comment, and share to your loved ones.